And welcome to Arts in Review. This is your host, Julio Martinez, celebrating the best in live theater and cabaret in the greater Los Angeles area. Today we're going to be focusing on a world premiere play at one of LA's leading 99-seat theaters. Actually, they have a couple of small theaters there. I have the Playwright here in studio because the director, Kathleen R. Delaney, is sort of stuck on one of our highways in this post-4th of July weekend. But I want you to meet Miss Suzy London. Now, I have that right?
You got that right.
And the play that you wrote is the GHEE GHEE PIK.
Yes.
GHEE GHEE PIK.
GHEE GHEE PIK.
And you have to come see the play to understand what that means.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Now, you're currently at the Group Repertory Theater.
Yes.
You debuted the play there. You've been running a while.
Yes.
And you have this Saturday, July 6th at 4 p.m., Sunday, July 7th at 7 p.m., Thursday, July 7th at 7 p.m., and that says it's a newish time, whatever that means. And July 13th at 4 p.m., and you close July 14th at 7 p.m.
Yes.
So the play has been running well. This is a world premiere. How has the reception been?
The reception has been wonderful. It's a thought-provoking play, and people come out of the theater and say, wow, you really got me to think. I've got to think about this. And to me, that's the highest compliment possible, because I opened a window into them for them to think about artificial intelligence and how our society and the world is dealing with artificial intelligence. So for me, it's been wonderful. I've had fabulous feedback.
Now, the information I got is the play dramatizes the true story of one woman's quest to vastly improve her challenged life and the unexpected consequences of such a union.
Yes.
And AI helps with this.
Well, that's the question of the hour, I'm afraid. It's based on actual events that happened in 2010 in Australia, and it's an eye-opener because you have to consider that you're trying to meld a inorganic thing into an organic person and have them interface. And in this particular case, and in the case of the other people in this study, there were issues of the person becoming symbiotically attached to the implant because the implant could think. It's artificial intelligence. So that can create lots of problems.
And this occurred in 2010?
It did. It occurred in 2010.
And what encouraged you to create a play about it?
Well, I have a medical background, and I read abstracts almost every day, seeing what's new in science, what's new in the world. And this came up as an abstract, and I read it, and I thought, this is really important. And it's important that we don't lose track of what can happen with these things. And I just felt impelled. I couldn't do much for her medically, but I sure could get her story out there.
And you didn't want to create a musical out of it?
No. Well, it wouldn't be a musical comedy, although there is a lot of humor in the play, I must say.
I just say this because I'm looking at your background. You're an actor, singer, dancer, the author of 7 plays, 2 full-length musicals, book music and lyrics, and has written hundreds of songs, 8 one-woman cabaret shows. Did you star in them?
Yes, I wrote them for myself.
Well, there. That's a way to keep getting work.
Yeah.
And you've appeared in dozens of plays. You've appeared in some pretty dark plays. Marat Sade, you did the national tour.
Yeah.
And Three Penny Opera.
Yeah.
That has some very dark moments.
Yes.
Intent to Murder.
Yes. Yes, I guess they don't sound very lighthearted, do they?
And The Ghost of Gershwin. I guess A Midsummer Night's Dream is a bit lighter.
Yeah.
And you're a member of GRT's Artistic Council.
Yes.
So you're a member of the group Repertory
Yes,
Theater.
I am.
And I ran into you when your director adapted a work of mine.
Yes. Yes, and my husband did the sound effects and taught them how to do the sound effects for Foley for You play, and he loved it.
Well, it's really nice to have you.
Thank you.
So, now once the play got on, this is a world premiere. Were you surprised where the laughs were and weren't? How people were reacting to it?
No, I wasn't really surprised, but I was pleased that it played as I foresaw it to, and I think that the humor is absolutely necessary because this wakes you up a bit, and it's sometimes truths are hard, and so it puts a lighter edge to it.
So your cast is Diana Angelina,
Yeah.
Davina Buzata, Mandy Fasten, Doug Haverty, I sure know him well, Sierra Lundy, Jason Madera, Kevin Michael Moran, Helen O'Brien, Stephen Stern, and Kathy Diane Tomlin.
Yes, it's Stevie Stern. That's a female, not a guy.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, yes, okay. So that's a fairly significant cast.
It is a significant cast, and it's a fantastic cast. And I'm not saying that because they're in my show. I'm saying that because these are incredible performers and actors, and I'm very blessed to have them. And there's such a sense of camaraderie and fun. And so that plays out in the interplay, and there's something new happening every night. People that have seen it more than once, and there's several people that have kept coming back because they want to see it again and hear it again and hear how this all came about again. And they have commented to me about, oh, that was new and fresh. And so it's always kind of hopping and popping.
So, do you keep it new and fresh? It was a world premiere play. Once you got it put on, did you feel you needed to make any changes in the play?
Well, there were some smaller changes. We need a little bit louder on that sound effect there. But for the most part, it was pretty much worked out before we opened. But there's always something new within the relationships of the characters. And that's what makes live theater so special. It's not static. It's always new, depending on what they're bringing in that particular day.
So the play hasn't surprised you.
There were certain areas of relationship that developed in such a beautiful way that surprised me a little bit. I went, "Oh wow, yeah, that's in there too," which is that's really terrific acting when you have that, because that's the real thing. These people are opening their souls and allowing this to come out, and we have a lot of fun. I mean, it's fun.
Now, who is the woman who's on the quest? Which actor does that?
That's Mandy Faison. And she is not only an incredible actress and incredible in the role, but she's beautiful to look at, and she's a beautiful soul. She's been a joy. They've all been a joy.
I know Douglas Haverty because he's still president.
He's the artistic director,
right?
And he's the reason that the shows have been so great in the last couple of years. We've had our subscribers and people so happy with the shows we're doing. I mean, he has a very fine artistic sensibility about what works and what doesn't work.
He's a fine artist anyway. He's a great graphic artist.
Yes. And he did the graphics for this show.
Naturally.
Yeah. And the ones that are used in the show as well. There's quite a bit of artwork within the show itself.
So there's no possibility of extending.
I wouldn't think so, because there is a show coming in after us.
Well, that's good reason.
Right. But there might be a brought back by popular demand somewhere along the line in the future. I don't know.
Now, you've been a cabaret performer. You've been on Broadway. Do you get a chance to perform outside of writing now?
Yes, I was in The Ghost of Gershwin. That was performing. That was tap dancing and singing, performing. And, I still do that. The pandemic changed a lot of things, because I have a regular job that I go singing in almost every year, and so you couldn't do it during the pandemic years. Well, I got a little antsy, so there's quite a bit of increase of writing at that time, because I had to be doing something artistic. I had to feed that part of myself.
Well, that's good.
Mm.
Is there another work or works you're working on?
Oh, yeah. There's many. I have like 4 that I'm working on other than this right now. One I'm going to be doing as a Monday night reading at the theater, which is only for the theater members. Coming up in August is a piece that I've written that's a thriller. I have another piece based on reincarnation that's supposedly a true story, according to the person who told it to me. I have one about the dynamics of relationships that can happen spontaneously. And I have one that's about organ transplantation.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. That's the one I'm probably going to finish first.
You must do a lot of research.
I do a lot of research.
So, where are you from?
I'm from a town in Illinois that's a suburb of Chicago that's called Park Ridge, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that.
You do know Park Ridge?
Sure.
It's a sleepy little town.
Yeah, we played at the Playboy Club in Chicago a while. And
Yes.
in between that, I did a lot of jaunting around because I hadn't been to Chicago before.
I worked in a lot of the clubs in downtown Chicago and had a great time.
Oh, sure. You go to Second City?
I never performed at Second City, but I'd go.
Well, the director of the committee in San Francisco was a founding member of Second City, and so we got a lot of actors from there.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you get into performing?
Oh my gosh, I think I have film of myself that my parents took of when I was about 2.
Oh,
And I was singing and dancing and, picked up the vase over there and that was the microphone. And I'd make up my little stories and then I'd get my little friend down the street. And I actually have a recording of us when we were really young, of us singing as little kids.
so you had backup singers too?
Yes, exactly. Oh, yes, got to have your backup singers.
Did you train in music and dance?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I took dance lessons from basically the time I could walk, and I took singing lessons, and I was in the high school musical.
Naturally.
And I had a fabulous voice teacher named Tabor Kelly, who was kind of renowned in the Chicago area, and he sure knew how to hone a voice. And so I was very fortunate that way. So I did have a lot of training.
Did you go to college?
I did. I went to the University of Iowa with a double major, and I had a professor there that had come from Czechoslovakia, from Prague, which is basically the #1 theater center in the world. And I was put in his class. I kind of entered graduate school in the second half of my freshman year. That's a long story. I proficiency out of everything. And he had me in the class and he said, "I'm going to tell you something." I said, "What?" And he goes, "Don't anybody ever try to teach you how to act. Don't listen. Just you get up and do it." And it actually stood me very well because sometimes too many cooks can spoil the broth there a bit. And so I gained a lot of confidence there because I started winning a lot of awards, and I had a fabulous voice teacher there as well. And then I worked around Chicago for a while, and then really the cold weather kind of got to me.
That's caused my parents to leave New York.
Yes, and they were starting to close some of the clubs. Some of the jazz clubs and stuff were starting to close down, and I thought, well, it's either going to be L.A. or New York. And I had a friend who had an apartment in L.A., and so I headed out that way with a brief stint in Las Vegas. Then I went to L.A.
Uh-huh. What was your first professional job?
Well, let me think which one came first. I was hired by a radio station to sing Killing Me Softly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And someone heard me on that radio station. So here I am on a radio station, just a few short years after my college years. And somebody heard me and posted on the bulletin board, "I have a job for you." And so I went and I had this singing job at a resort, which was actually a lot of fun. And because the magician's assistant had put on too much weight, she couldn't do some of the tricks, and so I did some of the tricks as well.
You could fit in the costume.
I could fit into the costume and fit into the coffin and fit into the zigzag lady, and so I learned magic tricks as well. It was a lot of fun.
So, I see where you were singing, dancing, and acting. What got you into playwriting?
Well, I've written short stories and stories my whole life, and I remember my mother saying to me when I was maybe 5 or 6, because I have this fantastic imagination, I guess, she said, "You don't know this about yourself yet, but you're going to be a writer." And I'm like, "No, I want to sing, I want to dance, I don't want to sit down and write anything." But as time went by, and sometimes, you have to write material for a show to fill in what's going on. You can't always just go from one song to another. I started writing that kind of stuff and helping other people with theirs. And then I've had a lot of really kind of incredible experiences, and so I wrote this series of short stories called The Teaching Tales, just that sort of highlighted important things in life that you learn along the way. And then one thing led to another, and then but I was very shy in the beginning when I was writing these plays. And so I'd write them and then I wouldn't do anything with them. And then I found myself later kind of going back and saying, well, wait, let me look at it now from this perspective in life and from what I've learned now. And, I did go to the University of Iowa, which is one of the great writing schools, and had taken many classes there. So, you do things, in the college format there.
Iowa is part of the Big Ten, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
I went to the University of Michigan.
Oh, you did?
I was
Another
a music
Big
major
Tenner.
there. Yeah.
There you go.
I marched in
It was
the
a
marching.
fabulous education.
Yeah, it was great. I was a big city boy back in Michigan, and that bothered me a bit, but it was a great education.
Mm-hmm. That's what I felt.
I'm talking to Suzy London, the playwright of the GHEE GHEE PIK, which is running through July 14th, and it's playing at the Group Repertory Theater, which is at the Lonnie Chapman Theater at the Group Repertory Theater, which is located at 10900 Burbank Boulevard in North Hollywood. Now, are you completely sold out, or can people get tickets?
Oh, people can get tickets still. They have been pretty full audiences, so if this sounds like this subject matter would interest you, you should get on it. And I think it's something for everybody because AI is ever present in our lives, and we need to be aware of what it can do. Yes, helpful in a helpful way, but also the dangers that we need to be aware of. Somebody just recently had an AI implant. It lasted for 2 months and then it didn't work anymore. Well, you can't leave that kind of machinery in your head. You have to take it out. And by that time, you've had cells form over it, dendrites, neurons, everything around it. It gets complicated.
Well, the number to call for tickets and more information is 818-763-5990. Or you can go online to www.thegrouprep.com. www.thegrouprep.com. And so, anyway, do you have an immediate project you're going to go to after the run of this?
Well, I'm working on this other play, which is called Proximity. It's very different. It's a 4-person thriller that has a lot of twists and turns in it. So I'll be excited about that. What really excited me about the GHEE GHEE PIK is as I kept doing more and more research, I think that we as human beings need to be aware of. And the other thing is that, so it's easier just to rely on artificial intelligence or a chatbot, but I'm very interested also in people using the brains they have because that's what you've been given. So why not use that? Why not expand that? And so I wanted to take a look at what can happen for the good, but what can happen that is something to really be considered.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing it tomorrow night. Actually, tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon, that's right.
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested in the seasons that happen. How is theater group rep structured? Do you do a season downstairs and a separate season upstairs?
Yes, they're two different things. The season upstairs this past year was 4 original plays. We have mine, and then we have another one coming, and then another one after that. So this is giving playwrights an opportunity to bring to fruition their words on paper. It starts with, and anybody that's a playwright, I really encourage you to join the group rep, because you can hone your skills and get feedback from professional people. And on Saturday, you'll do a Saturday morning to start off, and you'll get feedback, and then if it progresses from there, it can go to a Monday night, and then if it progresses from there, it can go to a 2-nighter where you can bring audiences in, and then if it does well, then you're given this opportunity, which is invaluable.
So while you're running upstairs, what's happening downstairs?
Downstairs, we have the final weekend of You Can't Take It With You.
Oh, there's a classic.
Oh, it's a classic, and people are loving it. The set is fabulous. Everything about this play is a pure joy. People are loving it.
Now, I've been to group rep. It's not a terribly large building.
No.
You have a number of actors upstairs. I know You Can't Take It With You has a fairly significant cast.
A very big cast.
Where do you all hang out?
Well,
I'd like to see the dressing room.
Well, there's its own separate dressing room upstairs where the GHEE GHEE PIK is being done. That has its own dressing room. It has its own lobby. The box office is shared by them, but they're never on at the same time. So we're doing 4 p.m. tomorrow, but then we will have You Can't Take It With You at 8 o'clock downstairs, so they don't interfere with each other, but you can do a double header. You could come and see the GHEE GHEE PIK and then take a breather and go and see You Can't Take It With You.
And you sort of mentioned it. If there are actors out there who are looking for a company, how do you get into group rep?
Well, you would go onto their website, and there is a number that you can email that you can email to asking. And sometimes we have set, we're going to ask a bunch of actors to come, and Doug and the Artistic Council will let them audition. But sometimes, he will just deal with it on his own. And or sometimes people will get cast in a show, and then they'll want to join, because it's really, really great theater. And we've taken a lot of time Doug in particular, to really hone a fabulously interesting and different season, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Sounds good. Now, do you do a summer season? Do you do Shakespeare out on the roof or anything?
No, we did do a Shakespeare show in 2017. Mark Singer directed it and starred in A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I was in that.
Oh, good.
Yes, I was Queen Titania in that. But normally we don't do. I mean, there's some fabulous Shakespeare companies in L.A., but we do a variety. We always do a musical. We try and do a drama, a comedy. Sometimes we'll have a thriller or a mystery that we'll do, but it's always a very interesting and varied season.
Well, I must say, you've been very easy to talk to for a half hour.
Thank you.
You do a great solo on radio.
Oh, I think I'm a blabbermouth. I could probably talk on.
And tell Kathleen I'd be delighted to have her on at another time.
I will.
When we make sure that the freeways are free for her to come.
Yes.
This is Julio Martinez, Arts in Review. We're here every Friday. I've been here since 1987. I want to thank my guest, Suzy London, and I want to let you all know that we'll be back next Friday. I'll be here at 2. Thank you for supporting KPFK.